Hello everybody, this is the Boxing Librarian, and I am finally delighted after a few months to get my friend, who I'm getting to know more and more all the time, via Facebook and chat and YouTube, Mr. Doc. Welcome, sir. Welcome to my channel. It's a pleasure to finally get you on.
I much appreciate the chance to be here to talk to you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, guys, what me and Mr. Doc are going to do, we're going to chat boxing, whatever we want. You know, there's no strict regimen on my channel. You know, and every now and then we'll jump to chat section. I'll monitor chat section, and then anybody who leaves any comments or questions in there, you know, can feel free to, you know, leave anything, and me and Mr. Doc will look at it. So, Mr. Doc, you know, hang on a minute, let me mute my phone volume so I can monitor my live chat properly. There we are. Bingo. Yeah, so Mr. Doc, first things first, I'll get your thoughts on what were your thoughts on the Kell Brook and Golovkin fight overall?
Oh, besides it being the greatest fight ever.
The greatest fight of all times.
George Foreman, Ron Lyon, no, step aside. Yeah. You're gonna,
we do know it's better than Hagler and Hearns, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's not even a question, right? It's just slap that thing off the table. Oh my God!
Oh dear, we've started off here on the right one, haven't we?
Oh yeah. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? You know, like I was telling you before we started, you know, I'm a Golovkin fan, okay? I was right in terms of what I predicted the outcome, but I was wrong about a whole lot of things, okay? And I'm certainly not satisfied. You know, I wanted a meme. I expected a meme, you know, like Khan versus Canelo with his soul coming out and everything.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
You know, that's you know, where's my brutal knockout? No. That's, you know what I mean? That don't work. There, not to mention, like I said, getting hit with like every single kind of right hand punch imaginable. And did HBO send out a memo to him and Gonzalez? No moving your head tonight.
Do you think that? Do you think what it is? Do you think in some ways that the fanboyism is getting people to over elevate these fighters?
Oh, just a little, just a little, a little bit. Oh my goodness! Like, you know, we hear a lot of, you know, we notice and hear a lot of talk about people and their emotions, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my observation, or at least the way I would, you know, try to visualize it verbally for somebody or talk about it that way. I see people emotionally over investing. You know, like, whoa, why are you, you know, that emotionally attached or invested in, you know what I mean, this or that fighter or the outcome of a fight, you know?
Yeah, I cannot disagree with that at all.
You know, it's like, because that's where you get the, you know, like I said, it was easy enough for me. I was wrong. Yeah, I thought he was going to go in there, blast Kell Brook's head into the fifth row. You know, that was my expectation.
So, you know, I mean, me as well, I don't know if you heard my video pre-fight, but I thought that it wasn't going to go 4 rounds. I thought Golovkin was just going to be too big, too strong for him, and too heavy a puncher.
That first minute, remember how I remember hearing you mention, you're like, during that first minute when he caught Brook with that left hook, and you were like, oh, I thought I was going to be more right than you know what I mean? I was a little smug at that moment, I have to admit. I'm like, oh, here we go. You know,
yeah, I thought it as well. I thought it's going to be
step aside of your Con. You know that your meme was great, but a better one's about to happen. And then he let him off the hook, and then he starts. And then he acts like he's never seen a right hand in his life or an uppercut. He just
or the left check hook.
Yeah, he just about gives the round away. I mean, not only do you have him on the hook, then you just about give the round away. Because, I mean, it was very arguable. I can't argue with someone that said that was an even round. Or even if they want to, say that Brook nicked it because he did more,
Yeah, because I don't know if you noticed this, but in that first round, I mean, when I've rewatched fight a few times, and Brook left check hooks him twice in first 25 seconds. Then Golovkin gets him hurt, but in that round, I mean, Golovkin is flailing, and he's missing a whole lot in that first round, even, isn't he?
Yeah, and I have, I'm sorry, Kell Brook is not at 147. Kell Brook is not. He's got technically very good footwork, but it's not particularly quick at 147. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a great point. He's got the technical skills, but he doesn't have the foot speed that Ray Leonard had against Hagler.
Or I was going to go, towards the fight, that of course no Golovkin fan except me wants to see Erislandy Lara.
Oh yes, of course, yeah, because Lara does have more foot speed, doesn't he?
Oh,
and he's a southpaw.
Yes, and he throws those same exact kind of punches. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Do you think that Lara is a bit of a heavier hitter than Kell Brook? Do you think Lara would have a power edge over it? Or do you think they're quite similar?
It would probably, because, well, see, like people, that's another one of these crazy things that, like the Golovkin fans that want no part of that fight, that they throw at you immediately. I even read this the other day in someone's, I think it was coach's comment section, this big cap letters. Lara has no power, exclamation point, like none, none. Okay. And so my response to that was simply this. I said, okay, so the guy that, busted Canelo up enough to make him have to wear sunglasses after the, for the post-fight press conference, sat Austin Trout on the seat of his pants and stopped a better, tougher version of Angulo than Canelo fought, has no power. Please explain. And of course, do you think I got a response?
No.
No, they had no response.
The only response normally you get is, "You're a hater."
Oh, Jesus. I'm a hater. I want to see the fight. I especially before the Brook fight, I thought Golovkin stops him somewhere around 9 or 10. But I want to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And I wasn't 100%. I wasn't, it's not like Lara didn't have a chance in my mind. I want to, and it's like I was telling you on Facebook, I get people like, someone will say, "Oh, you have something for Cubans." What?
You remember that Cuban fan club, buddy? Oh.
Exactly. Must be. I guess, where's my Fidel Castro poster? I
hope you're flying that hammer and sickle, buddy, on your wall at home. If not, I'm gonna.
Yeah. Boy, you just made me think of something. All these guys, they love these, basically what used to be under the hammer and sickle flag, fighters. Am I wrong? Right? But they hate the Cubans. You already see where I'm going, don't you? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think you've nailed one right there. I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong, but the amateur programs of those two, of Cuba and what used to be the Soviet Union, right?
Yeah.
All these, fighters that fight in the only correct, proper style. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, very true.
Are they not pretty much, just variations of the same exact, methodology?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Soviets and Cubans, they interacted on boxing level, didn't they? You had Russian coaches going to Cuba, you had Cuban coaches going to Russia.
I'm no history expert, but they interacted on every level because they were pretty much the two communist nations.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah,
But,
because the other countries were annexed, weren't they? Warsaw Pact countries, they were just occupied, weren't they? So.
Yeah, but we need to get rid of these Cuban fighters. You know, they're a waste of airtime and money, and right.
One interesting thing. Can I ask you?
I couldn't. I held that together as long as I could.
Because a lot of people criticise the Cuban fighters, but then they criticise American fighters for not fighting enough Cubans.
But they don't want to see the Cubans fight. So what are you saying? You don't want to watch boxing matches? You know. But anyways, before I completely forget where I was going here. See, remember I said I could be scatological. Oh, Lara versus Golovkin. You know, it has nothing to. The whole point, the reason I want to see the fight is that not the one of the many classic stylistic matchups. You know?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The boxer against the hunter destroyer. I mean, it's a great recipe.
And not just that, but they're both great exponents of those two, you know, styles. You know, you're not just dealing with average versions. We have high level, you know, exponents of these two particular styles that are, you know, a great mesh to begin with. You know, how can that not be a good fight? You know, all I hear is, it'd be boring. You know, Lara's gonna run all night. No, he's going to box the crap out of him all night, and based on what I saw against Kell Brook, he's going to make him look stupid.
Yeah, you know, this is a thing as well, buddy. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but a lot of people who say, "Oh, Lara Golovkin's a boring fight," but if Lara's boxing and being defensive, what is Golovkin doing? He making it an interesting fight? You know, I mean, he's going to be coming forward. He's going to be attacking.
If that's going to be a boring fight, explain to me how Lara versus Angulo was boring. In what way was that fight boring?
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know, it's about styles make fights. You know, if you stick a highly skilled individual in there with somebody that they know is relative to them a bum, yeah, they're going to toy with them one way or another, whatever, you know, depending on their temperament.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree.
You know, if you know someone is a, you know, pure counter puncher that likes to work off the back foot, and you stick them in there with a bum, that to me. Come on, I'm not trying to pretend I'm I should be matchmaking or anything like that, but I'm just saying even I can figure this out. Right? I mean, come on. I may be an on-frozen high school dropout, but even I can figure out that's going to be a stinker. Yeah, of course people are going to boo.
Yeah, of course, because as well, the guy, if you put a fighter like Lara in with a much lower rated fighter, generally really lower rated fighters, journeyman, they're more defensive by nature anyway, because they used to, you know, not being on the winning end, they don't necessarily have the skill sets. So a bit like Alexander Brand with Andre Ward, a lot of fighters like that, they're generally very defensive and try and survive anyway. So yeah, if you put him in with someone like Lara, I agree with you, it's not going to be a great fight. But Golovkin, he's supposed to have the ability to hunt down Lara, cut the ring off apparently, and hunt and destroy him. So, you know, that's a different blend, isn't it?
Well, is Golovkin not Angulo times 1,000, basically?
Oh, yeah, he's a totally different animal, isn't he? Much superior to Angulo.
Saying, but in the same vein, if I'm making sense. Yeah,
and a bit similar to Antonio Margarito in ways as well.
Yeah, it's you know, it's the point is we go back to the mesh of styles. That style meshes fantastically. You know, that's how you get the best out of those kind of fighters. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if I can ask, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about the Lara Golovkin fight that they don't want, but the fight that they do want, I'm not 100% sure Golovkin comes through that skin clean against Canelo Alvarez. What are your thoughts on that fight? Because I think with Canelo's counter-punching and hooking and his uppercuts, I think he could pose a little bit of a danger. I don't know if he'd have the power to hurt Triple G. I think that's where Canelo's downfall may be. If he can't hurt Triple G is going to go in and destroy him on inside, and he's just going to bludgeon him to death. But what are your thoughts on that fight?
Much like, it's the same. Before the Brook fight, I thought it was, I would say like a 65-35, maybe 60-40, towards Golovkin. I'm pretty certain Golovkin's going to win, but, you can't be dismissive of Canelo. Obviously I'd give him a chance. Now I see it more 50-50 for a lot of the reasons you said. And then it could turn into, like you say, a dogfight, and then come down to, who busts up whose body first.
Yeah, because don't you think Golovkin's a bit prone to getting marked up around face?
And counterpunched in general.
Yeah.
And Canelo likes to throw counter right hands. He likes to throw straight right hands over the top, if he's fast enough, like he was against Cotto at times.
And he has a fairly decent jab when he wants to use it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not as quick or well, he doesn't have the footwork of Kell Brook, in my opinion, but he makes up for that by, being, he's a natural middleweight, whether he wants to admit it or not. Unlike
I agree.
So
that picture of him and that picture of him and Golovkin stood next to each other. I mean, Canelo looks like Hulk, doesn't he? He looks twice as wide as Golovkin in chest.
Yeah. He's trying to go around, and I'm not a middleweight. Stop. So,
do you think he's waiting for Golovkin to grow old?
Oh, is that not just, that's self-evident. It seems self-evident to me. I mean, what else?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just for viewers, a lot of people seem to think that I've had a lot of people come to me saying it's a business decision, and it is.
See, I have to have a drink real quick here, Andrew. That's before we go in on that. My goodness. Oh boy, these amateur businessmen! Are you kidding me? I know things change, and you know what I mean. Things progress, but my God, I don't remember any of this crap at any other time of my life following the sport.
I don't either.
Well, much less. I mean, I won't even go start on the whole fanboys of promoters thing. All right, we'll stay on the business. These amateur business.
Oh God, yeah. There's more promoters and managers on YouTube than there is in real world.
And also, apparently, we got all these HBO and Showtime and Heyman. They need to start checking their business rooms for all these spy cameras these guys must have.
I think that Al Heyman and Bob Adams should check out Maxwell Bear's page, because he may teach them a thing or two. Maxwell Bear may teach him a thing or two about the boxing business, because he's a goddamn expert, isn't he? He's like, all right.
He's the Invisible Man or some shit. I mean, I'm sorry. Look, they're not in those rooms. They don't know what the hell is being said, offered, counter-offered, reasoned, discussed, debated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
so I don't want to even. I don't care. I mean, where to start with these people? Like, my favorite one is, they're asking for too much money. Or pricing themselves out, or my favorite one, that would be overpaying them. Okay? That person isn't a draw. Let me think back here, and you, please, this is, I mean this sincerely. Correct me at any point if I'm wrong, right? Because I am, most of my knowledge is just from watching fights on TV, you know, or when a few times we got to go to we had drive-in movie theater when I was a kid, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I digress. So, people that don't draw. Do you remember this guy, George Foreman? You know, knocking people out left and right, champion of the world. You know, slapped Hall of Famer Joe Frazier around the ring like a basketball, right? Crazy. Oh. Do you know who couldn't draw a dime prior to the Rumble in the Jungle? George Foreman couldn't draw a dime. That was the biggest. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, because the purse with Muhammad Ali, what first really massive money purse he had, $5 million each, wasn't it? They divided $10 million.
If I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty damn sure that was Foreman's first purse that was 6 figures, or I mean 7 figures, that went beyond 6 figures. So
I'm not 100% sure about that, but you could be right. Yeah, please go on.
If not, it was probably close to if not his highest payday. Could we agree it was probably not much more than $1 million?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. They got paid each. Was it $5 million at the time?
Yeah, I think it was $5 million each. Yeah.
Okay, so George Foreman got paid 5 times his highest payday. Is that not overpaid? Now let's go to the Challenger. Let's talk about the Challenger about overpay while we're at it. Okay?
Yeah, shoot, buddy.
So here we have a guy that has lost to Norton and Foreman, although he avenged the Norton losses by that point. Now, yeah, he did avenge the Frazier loss, both on points. Okay? Was considered over the hill, been put on his pants by Frazier. Okay, had 2 tough dog fights, you know, regardless of the fact that he avenged them, right, with Frazier and Norton. And Foreman had blasted both those guys out of there. And I know, blah, 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 triangle theory. But Vegas knows their stuff 99% of the time. Vegas, correct me again if I'm wrong, wouldn't take bets. They would not take bets because Ali was that much of an underdog.
Yeah, it were some people in the American boxing establishment didn't even want the fight to be sanctioned because they thought that Ali could be killed.
Yeah, the stories are some people in his camp thought the same thing. That he was gonna, you know, refuse to quit and like they say and end up, you know, hurt or worse. So
yeah, I get what you're saying. It was viewed as a total mismatch.
Yeah. So isn't that paying that guy $5 billion overpaying him
for a mismatch fight, perceived as a mismatch at time? I mean, yeah, it could be argued that. Yeah.
So we'll just take since Vegas wouldn't take odds, we'll just call it 1,000 to 1 underdog. So we have a guy. The one guy's making 5 times his biggest payday, not a draw, right? The other one's 1,000 to 1 underdog. He's getting $5 million. $5 million USD in 1974.
Now with inflation, that'd probably be. Oh.
Thank you for saying that word, because I've been waiting for someone to lay that word on these idiots.
You're probably looking at 30-40 million now for that.
Okay. So we'll be conservative and go with $30 million each by today's standards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that fight, you know, they put $30 million into, okay, but paying Erislandy Lara even $5 million, overpaying him. I'm just asking. It's an honest question. You know. I mean, I have a feeling about what the answer is going to be like, but you know, it is an honest question.
Lara done enough to get that money.
Doesn't deserve it.
He's not a draw. He didn't do ratings.
Yeah, like George Foreman. Did George Foreman do ratings? No.
No, Foreman were just riding crested wave, like you say, over demolishing Frazier, then wiping out Jose King Roman in still one of the most frightening displays of swinging hooks I've ever seen. And then he wiped out Norton, didn't he? And really, George Foreman hadn't done much beyond that, beyond beating Peralta and Chevalo.
Peralta gave him fits. That's why they rematched it.
That was a good fight, that first fight. That was a good fight.
And people like to use the word blueprint. If you watch the Peralta fight, in my opinion, this is just from my armchair perspective, you see at least a lot of the blueprint for what Ali did to him.
Yeah, because Peralta's on ropes a lot.
Yeah, it's just that Peralta was a one-handed fighter. He didn't have no right hand.
And Foreman did seem to, in that fight, he did seem to have rounds, didn't he, where he went tired. But he kind of paced himself in earlier rounds a bit better than he did in Zaire, where he just went pedal to metal.
And you could see every time Peralta gave him any kind of an angle, he didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, because angles are a brawler's worst enemy.
Yeah, and, that brings us full circle. Like, I see, this is what I was saying when my mind's scatological. To me, this brings us full circle to the greatest fight of all times. Because what I saw in that ring was giving me some flashbacks. I was going, oh my God, every time Kell Brook gives him the slightest freaking angle, he doesn't know what to do with it. He's having to reset everything. And he's getting hit while he's resetting.
Yeah, did you notice that every time Kell Brook were check hooking him with them sneaky lefts and them right hands, them short right hooks, a lot of time Golovkin were having to reposition his feet.
Yeah, see, okay, to my eye, what was happening was because Kell Brook gave him the angle, because he was having to reset, that's why he was able to get those check hooks in there, if I'm making sense.
Yeah, fully.
And he was even after and then the check hook would, either offset or mess up his resetting, and then you get those right hands in there.
Yeah. Well, it would often when Golovkin were resetting that Brook opened up with combinations because he had advantage of foot position over Golovkin at that time, so he was able to open up on him a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, because he was, what happened to cutting off the ring? He was following him around like a puppy dog on a leash.
Yeah, I noticed that. He was following him in straight lines pretty much, wasn't he? Apart from in fifth round, he cut him off a little bit. But a lot of time, we were just following him around, yeah.
And they can miss me with this, it was intentional. No, he wasn't fast enough. He wasn't quick enough. He was too slow, turning his foot positioning. Brook was too far away by the time he'd get reset.
No, that is a great point, actually. I totally agree with that, yeah.
It's, these people try to act like Willie the Worm Monroe is some fantastic middleweight. You know what I mean? And fantastic, slick outboxer or something.
I don't think Willie Monroe Jr. is as long or as good as his uncle.
No, not at all. And let's not even get into comparing his resume with his uncle's. One thing that surprised me as well. One thing that surprised me is how reckless Golovkin was. I believe that scared me a bit because, to me, any fighter at top level like he's been all that time, all it took was him charging in, swinging wildly, and wrong shot to land on his chin, and it could have been disaster. He was so reckless. I've very rarely seen recklessness like that, where he's marching in, swinging cumbersome left hooks, Brooks evading him, he's sidestepping, he's slipping him, countering. I mean, it would be scary to watch, and I kept thinking, if he did fight a Lara, and he fights Lara in that manner, he's going to have to use a jab, he's going to have to try and use more technique against Lara, or he's going to be getting caught with kitchen sink, isn't he? Oh, I was thinking, one of Bert Sugar's great lines came to mind when I was watching it. I was like, this Golovkin, he's not fight. He won't find Lara with a Geiger counter.
Yeah, because Lara will move to his right, which will take Golovkin's right hand out of play. It'll leave him left hook happy. And if Golovkin wishes to, use his right hands, he's going to have to be repositioning his feet all the time. I mean,
and correct me, and I'm not no technical expert here, but basically, he's either going to have, it's going to take him longer to reset because your left foot's in front of your right. Understand? And Lara's going the other way. Or he's going to have to start having his feet parallel, which is all wrong.
Yeah, and another thing, another thing, buddy, I don't know if you'll agree, but also while he's resetting, Lara's still moving and repositioning himself as well.
Yeah, and he's just going to keep giving him little angles, until he decides to, he needs to get out whichever side door is available. And everybody's going to go, oh, it was a boring fight, slow motion videos, and...
Watch the fight again. You thought Lara won? Watch it again. That's all I'll say to you, Mr. Doc. Watch the fight again. ... Oh dear. Oh, we are being naughty tonight.
Oh man, I'm telling you, that's going on my wall. I mean it. I'm going to get a printout of that. And that's like one of those. That's too funny to ever forget. Watch the fight again. Oh my god! I mean, I look. I mean, it was so one-sided. Is the thing. I mean, I thought that Floyd clearly won against Manny, right?
Yeah, me too.
I had it closer than most people, right? But I thought it was definitive. Yeah, in other words, all the rounds were pretty easy to score for me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But Postal got a lesson in boxing.
No, I saw a comment.
I had the kindest score towards him going from what I saw, and it was just me being honest. And I had it like even maybe after. I think I had it even because I had one round. I think there was an even round in there. I think I had it maybe even after 5, and then the rest was all Crawford. There wasn't even debatable.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's how I found it. I heard comments though that in that fight, Postal were guess where comments come from. Postal were outboxing Crawford, and he repeatedly kept snapping Crawford's head back with solid jabs. And Crawford was not landing clean punches. Oh, we're being naughty tonight, buddy. We're being naughty tonight.
I didn't see those, man. I didn't.
Watch fight again. Sorry, I had to drop that one in there. You left your set open for that one, buddy. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Wow. It just reinforces what I was saying, man, the other day. Screw you too.
Well, I'm going to Facebook now. I've been spending more time in the Facebook group, and that's what I think. So I'm like, where do all these people come from? Crawford was outboxing Postal throughout the fight. I had someone tell me a scorecard that read 9 rounds to 3 for Postal, and I'm like, what? No, I'm not joking. I wish I was.
Whoa.
You've seen show the Outer Limits. Me.
Oh my god.
You are entering the Twilight Zone.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, back to the point. But it's back to the point. Though I do agree with you on Lara Golovkin. I think Golovkin wins the fight, but I still want to see it because it's a good fight. And why should we not want a good fight?
Yeah, and it's a lot more competitive to me now.
Do you think there's been a lot of talk? Do you think that Golovkin, because I'm not 100% sure he's been exposed. I think he was just reckless. Do you think he has been exposed or not? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. At some point, I had a thought in my mind when you were talking there about, there was some intentional recklessness early, but when he came off the stool in that third round, that was not intentional. Right? He was frustrated. That was a frustrated fighter, in my opinion.
Yeah, way charged out. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he came running off that stool. And it was, like you could see it in his face, his body language, everything. He was frustrated. That was not what he was in for more than he'd bargained for.
Yeah, because at the end of the second round, Brook had been firing off combos at him, hadn't he? And he'd been getting crowd rising up.
It'd be one of those uppercuts that lifted. Both his feet came off the mat.
Yeah, I did see that change in third round. He charged out like a machine, didn't he? And went straight after him.
Yeah, and that's when the just pure recklessness started. So that begs the question: if Brook was able to frustrate him with just a little bit of angles and a little bit of foot movement and quickness, what's Lara gonna do?
Yeah, I can't agree with you more.
And what happens once he gets frustrated? You see, that's when the fight gets really interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, because the thing is, and another thing, the difference with Lara and Brook, Lara is not brave like Brook. So if Lara is frustrating him, Lara's going to keep frustrating him. He won't change tune. He won't stand and trade punches. He'll be clever, whereas Brook can be a bit brave sometimes and stand and trade, but Lara won't stand and trade. He'll just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
No, especially if it's working. He's very that's part of that whole Lafinka thing. What Lafinka seems to instill in almost all of them is they're very disciplined.
Yeah.
In that regard, which is something else some people don't seem to like.
Yeah, I agree, buddy. Yeah.
But that's to me that's like a part of combat sports is discipline.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was impressed with Golovkin's discipline in the Lemieux fight. I thought he was very controlled in that fight, and if he fought like that all the time, it would be much harder to beat. But if he's going to fight a Danny Jacobs, assuming, like many people say, Danny Jacobs has got a weak chin. So if Golovkin thinks, all I've got to do is go in and knock him out, he's apparently got a weak chin, and he starts getting tagged off Danny Jacobs, who I think is a much heavier puncher than Kell Brook. I mean, God knows, who knows what could happen.
You could have some problems, yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. It's not a question of, yes, there was some intentional recklessness. So I guess my answer is that it's a bit of column A and a bit of column B. Some of it was intentional I'd say about half was intentional recklessness and half was, some exposure of some, flaws. He's not quite as quick. He's a little slower on his feet than I thought.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And he's not quite the master cutter off the ringer that everyone made him out to be.
As a result, yep.
Not against a fighter who has footwork.
Yeah, he was not. It wasn't just recklessness. He was not fast enough to make the turns to keep up with it. And like you said, having to follow him in straight lines. And if you do that against a disciplined, counterpunching, Cuban boxer like Lara, what are you gonna get? You're going to get a couple straight punches down the pipe, and then you're going to have to find him again.
Yeah, and Lara will be moving out. Lara will move to his right. He'll be firing them nasty right uppercuts he throws. As Golovkin's repositioning his feet. I mean, and Lara will keep doing it round after round after. And another thing, I'll throw this in there as well. Billy Joe Saunders, he gets a lot of flack at minute, and in a lot of ways for good reason, because he should never have said, "I can't beat Golovkin, I'm not fighting him." All that stuff were turd stuff to me. But in terms of a fighter, Billy Joe is very similar to that. He's a southpaw. He will use a jab, and he constantly is on the move, and he'll constantly circle his opponent out to his right. And he's more of a middle. I think Billy Joe Saunders could probably beat Kell Brook at middleweight.
Oh, for sure. Kell Brook doesn't belong at middleweight, please.
I mean, I'm not saying I think Saunders will beat Golovkin, but in terms of that style, of that movement, that southpaw jab, that constant movement and repositioning of himself, it's a bit of a similar scenario.
It's another fight that, in my eyes, is a lot more competitive than I thought it was going to be. You know, I thought he just, you know, he was going to blast him out of there, like I thought he was going to blast Kell Brook out of there, but not now. It'd be a matter of, you know, can he avoid getting cut, or, you know, or something like that, like what happened to Brook.
Yeah. I mean, another fight, the Eubank Jr. fight, I think that's a very dangerous fight for Golovkin now.
Eubank Jr. That'd be some fireworks.
Yeah, because Eubank Jr. is tough. He's never been down. He's never known to have been down, and he spars cruiserweights and light heavyweights in sparring, and gives a good account of himself and his work rate. And when he opens up, swinging all them punches, I mean, he's going to be a force to stop. If he's as tough as what people think he is, even though he's not 100% technically proficient in all aspects, just the work rate and the wild punch output and the moving around, he can double and triple up on a jab. You know, when he wants to show it,
and he throws. His pet punches are those uppercuts and those straight rights.
Yeah, the same punches Kell Brook kept tagging Golovkin with, yeah.
Yeah, see, and I think we're getting a knockout in that fight from somebody. I don't know who, but somebody's going to sleep there with, you know what I mean, the number of punches, like you say, Eubank Jr. throws, the way they both hit, etc.
I think as well that is a fight that will answer a lot of questions about Golovkin.
Yeah, and would be exciting. It'll be exciting. It'd be a great fight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And I have to say that in my opinion, but it's my observation, a lot of people, at least over here, they greatly underestimate or misperceive Eubank Sr. And I say that because me and my friends, we were fans.
As I was when I was younger, I used to watch him on TV and Sky all the time, yeah.
Yeah, see, and our thing was, our thing was one of my friends in the trailer park, his dad had all the, you know, whatever the latest satellite system was, he'd end up with it. And he always had, you know, your, like, disc scramblers and whatnot. And so that was where we got to go see any, like, you know, like anything international or pay-per-view or what have you. So I
think you mentioned that to me when we were chatting one time. Yeah.
Yep. So I wouldn't. There's a whole bunch of things I wouldn't have gotten to see without Mr. Harrison's place, man. So yeah, we got to actually see some of those. I don't know if they were replays or what, but, you know, otherwise we wouldn't have, because it was ITV. And we were like, you know, oh yeah, everybody's booing him. We like to root for the bad guys. So, you see what I mean? So we're like, oh yeah, that's our guy, you know. So we'd always be that's how I became a fan of his. It was just basically, you know, we ran across it on the surfing the satellite, you know. Oh, some boxing, cool, and you know what I mean. It kind of went from there. Figure out who these people are and whatnot, and there you had it. But yeah, he was serious business as a fighter, was he not? Especially before that, before the Michael Watson fight.
Oh, Eubank Senior, I'll tell you something. He were one tough cat. He were tough. I mean, he absorbed all them punches off Nigel Benn, and you know, he had heart. I mean, I don't know if you remember our sort fight where Eubank actually fought at cruiserweight against Carl the Cat Thompson.
Yep. It's in
one of them fights, Eubank nearly had him knocked out.
He had him on the floor. I honestly still think I still score for Eubank Senior, barely. I had like a point or two, but I thought he won the fight. He put him on the floor and had him hurt like every other round, it seemed like. And like you say, it was a cruiserweight. One of the rounds is in one of my videos I put on your Facebook.
Yeah, and Eubank stood and traded punches with him as well. A big crew.
He backed him up.
Yeah,
he was backing him up and hitting him with those uppercuts and rocking him and everything.
I always say I don't think GGG beats Eubank Senior. I think Eubank Senior beats Golovkin.
Yeah, now I do. I'd agree now. Before I would have been like, ooh, very, very interesting. But now I favor Eubank Senior. That guy was, especially before, like I said, at middleweight, which is his career right through the end of the Watson fight.
Yeah.
That somebody was getting knocked out. And he was an animal. He could hit. You know,
Yeah,
it's
a great point what you raised. The up to Watson fight, I like where you said it, because after that fight, Eubank Senior pulled his foot off the gas when he had a man hurt. Often he'd stand there and beckon referee to stop it because he were affected by what happened to Michael Watson.
He didn't want to hurt people. He didn't want to hurt people anymore. You could tell. And what I mean by that is he didn't want to. You know what I mean? He just did not want any parts of another. Anything close to an incident like that.
By the way, buddy, I'll just jump to comments. I don't know if you know an uploader called B-Marsh. He's a buddy of mine. He's been on a hangout. Yeah. He's left a few comments. He's put big ups to Mr. Doc. That man knows his boxing. Big up Mr. Andrew Senior as well. And he's also commented on...
B-Marsh.
Yeah, he's a good guy, B-Marsh, yeah. Yeah, I B-Marsh, buddy. He's put Carl Thompson gave Eubank a tough-ass fight at Cruiserweight. Yeah, it was a great fight. And he's put, Bet, I watched it again yesterday and I still got it a draw, a couple of swing rounds in there too. And yeah, that's a great point, anybody, what B-Marsh just said, because Eubank was in a very competitive fight with a big, powerful Cruiserweight.
Say it again, Cruiserweight. Let that sink in for some people, So, like, who's at Cruiserweight now that we want to pit Golovkin against?
Alexander Usyk, maybe, and Gregory Drods.
How do we think that goes?
Glowacki, I mean.
There we go. Let's do that one. Let's do that one. Marco Huck.
Oh dear me, yeah.
That goes. This goes to what, and B-Marsh. Me and B-Marsh talked about this too. People bring up Roberto Duran, right?
Yeah.
Not even your normal lightweight champion. Not even your normal long reigning lightweight champion, right? my favorite lightweight right now that's active, okay? No bullshit. And this goes back to people who say, oh, you have Cubans or something. Right? My favorite lightweight right now, although he just moved up, is Rances Barthélemy. Right?
Yeah.
Let's put him in with Golovkin and see what happens. Put him in with Hagler. What happens? You understand?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Put him in with Sugar Ray Leonard. And I'm not trying to knock the guy. I think I just said I mean it. To me, best lightweight in the world right now, in my humble opinion.
And he was a super feather champ as well, IBF. So he's already building a bit of a pedigree at title level, and yeah, he's an excellent fighter, Rances Barthélemy. Yeah,
fantastic. I think, and although some people give me some flack for this, even I think he's smoother switching up his stances than even Terence Crawford. Not that Terence Crawford is fantastic at it, and they use it in different ways. I'm just saying he does it more smoothly, if that makes any kind of sense. Yeah.
He's well schooled. Barthélemy is a well schooled fighter.
Yeah, very, very. And another one of those disciplined Cuban fighters. Although one thing, me and B-Marsh were kicking this around. I don't know if you saw the Denis Shafikov fight or not.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah.
Did he not lay in those body shots? They were just thudding.
I think that Rances Barthélemy, if he stayed at lightweight, he could clean up there. I really do.
That was my hope. To be honest. But
I think he beats Linares. I think he's too technical for Linares. I think he beats Crawler. I just don't see. We don't know what Felix Verdejo's doing yet. He hasn't been too active as he is. Such.
That would be interesting, though. That'd be interesting, but I think Barthélemy wins.
Yeah, I think he's a bit too. I think Felix Verdejo is going to be a bit too one-dimensional for him in a way. Jab, big left hooks, a bit Felix Tito style. Although I think Tito Trinidad were a better fighter than Felix Verdejo. Don't get me wrong. But
yeah, if he doesn't get him out of there, Rances will figure that out, like he did against Shafikov. That was, a close fight, and then he started to kind of pull away towards the end because he, figured it out. And like I said, but those body shots. When was the last time you saw a Cuban fighter lay in body shots like that?
You don't really see it, do you? Because they're headhunters for the most part, aren't they? Because when they go to body, because a lot of them are more defensively minded, as you'll know, like with Vladimir Klitschko. If you're going to body, you have to be close enough to get countered. And a lot of Cubans prefer to fight in the way of maintaining range, don't they? So they don't like going to body because they're too close.
Yeah, they'll stab to the body more like a Floyd or an Ali if they're going to do any kind of body work. It's just like you say, to keep more distance and keep them honest.
But yeah, to dig body shots is not normal for a Cuban fighter, really.
And you could hear those. You know what I mean?
Do you think Francis Barthélemy beats lightweight Roberto Duran?
That's my point. You know, or here we go. Let's put Rancis in the everybody likes to do the time machine thing. You know?
Yeah. Let's
put Rancis in the time machine and put him in the ring with 160-pound Iran Barkley. Anybody in comments, you tell me what you think happens. I'm honestly curious. You know,
Barkley bludgeoned the poor kid.
Yeah, he's getting laid out.
I mean, look how he laid Burns out. I mean, he nearly put him. He nearly had him carried down a stretcher, didn't he, with that hook?
That right hand as he was going down.
Timber!
Right, yeah, and he gets. I couldn't believe Tommy got up after the right hand as he was falling. Holy crap!
Yeah, like, I mean,
ooh.
But this is thing into what we're talking about. Duran fought off the ropes. He partially roped up Barkley. He fought him on the inside as well. But he just totally outfoxed him, didn't he? Even an old.
And put him on his pants into the bar. He was also beating him up. His eye was all swollen up and everything. Put him on his pants, the whole bit. Beat him up too. He didn't just. That's the thing. He wasn't just outpointing these guys. He was beating them up. He beat the career out of Davey Moore.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, brutal display. Yeah,
brutal. Yeah, he was. That's the thing. This little lightweight. He wasn't just winning. He was beating these guys up. That's not a normal lightweight. That's a special, once maybe every couple of generations athlete.
Why do all these people now, when they talk about Duran, say, "Oh, Duran the lightweight," and make out that he's like Anthony Crolla? I mean, what? Because they're both at lightweight, they're both exactly the same.
Oh, that was Anthony.
That would have been brutal to me, but
poor Anthony. But you see, it's not like we're trying to say these guys are bad fighters. That's
right. Yeah,
it's not the point. Just because I think Crolla ends up on his back in a couple of rounds. I'm not trying to say he's terrible, but you know what I mean. There's transcendent. There's once every couple of generations you get a transcendent talent, and this happens in every sport. Sometimes I wonder if these people watch any other sports, because I watch a few other sports besides boxing. Hence, I tend to get really frustrated with like the terrible punch stats, because in every other sport they are, they make sure everything's correct, and if they get it wrong, they go back and review the tape and correct it. In terms of statistics. And in boxing, all you need is a couple of eyeballs to realize that ain't going on here.
Yeah,
I just filter that out when I'm watching.
But you have really no point, because this is what I try and tell people. Ali was not a normal heavyweight for his time. Even Tyson was not a normal heavyweight in the 80s. Roy Jones was not a normal middleweight in the 90s. These certain fighters, they've got either such skills or capabilities or natural talents, they rise to a level that is above the average, don't they? Exactly. Like Duran. Yeah.
Yeah. Not even a normal great champion lightweight, but there's lots of long reigning champs at lightweight, I'm sure, that you could think of that wouldn't be able to do what Duran did.
Oh, it's very hard. To be honest, I rate Joe Gans highly. I rate Benny Leonard highly, but even none of them great classical boxers find Duran an easy fight at all.
Or matching his accomplishments, like fighting guys like Iran Barkley, and what have you.
And Sugar Ray Leonard, and Thomas Hearns, and Wilfred Benitez.
Exactly. Oh no, Wilfred Benitez.
No, did it again. He's boring. He didn't do numbers. He didn't do ratings.
He's not going to get no fight.
He won't get on TV. He's got a dull style. That's what they'd say now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when a great fighters are 80s, Benitez, 3-weight champion, now they just call him dull boring and say he didn't do ratings.
And dismiss him like, I wouldn't forget him.
He didn't deserve any big fights. He didn't bring any money to the table.
He doesn't even deserve to be talked about in reflection. If I heard one of your videos correctly, because you were listening along, I don't know who it was, but they basically said someday we're going through the list of names, and they said Benitez, and they're like, "Oh, forget him."
Oh, that was in my debate in January. He said Leonard, but Hagler, Burns, Duran, Benitez, and then he said, "Oh, let's forget Benitez." And I'm like, "What? Forget Wilfred Benitez?"
See, he's so boring. They don't even want to talk about him.
I know, it's staggering, isn't it?
He's a Hall of Famer.
Youngest ever world champion.
He lied about didn't he have to lie about his age?
You what, sorry? Wasn't he 16? God, how old were he now? 17 years old, wasn't he? He was 17.
It was against the law. It was technically illegal what he did, or you know what I mean? He wasn't old enough to have been doing that. And so, forget him. Won a title at 17.
Oh, forget him, I mean, when he fought Leonard, he was an unbeaten 2-weight world champion. Well, just dismiss him, And after losing to Leonard, he won like middleweight title. He beat Roberto Duran. He outboxed Duran. Just forget about Benitez, he's doing.
El Radar. Nah.
The numbers. Boring.
Who's Carlos Palomino, right?
Oh, God, yeah, Carlos Palomino.
Oh, man.
Big hooker. I remember when he knocked out our boy, Dave Boy Green. That brutal look just starched Dave Boy Green out. Dave Boy Green cost what Leonard is,
Didn't Leonard starch that guy out, too?
Yeah.
What seemed to be his role in life was to get... Poor
Dave Boy Green he was an energetic fighter. He was a hooker. He came to fight. Anyway, buddy, before we go on, the comments have just gone a bit nuts.
Okay.
Truth in his sword put Eubanks was a bit awkward too. Yeah. Hagler kills Golovkin. I can't disagree with that because if Hagler's hitting him with uppercuts, it's all over. Truth in his sword also put Leonard might stop Golovkin, to be honest. I mean, you never know, do you? He's a better fighter than Kell Brook.
And he got more power, in my opinion. Punches harder.
He's much faster on his feet. Then Truth in his sword put the Beast Mugabe stops Golovkin in 5. Pre-Marvin Hagler, possibly. Post-Marvin Hagler, I'm not sure.
I'd watch.
Yeah, yeah. If Golovkin can take Mugabe's clean shots, he really does have a chin, believe me.
Well, regardless, my point is that's must-see TV right there, man.
B-Marsh has left I'll just go through these last comments, buddy, then we can carry on. B-Marsh put, great point, Mr. Doc. Rances has an excellent body shots. Rances doesn't fight in a typical Cuban style. That switch hitting and fighting in the pocket makes him unique. Yeah, B-Marsh, good point, buddy. Truth in his sword put, Duran beats Golovkin too. Dan the Man Boxing. One of my buddies, Dan the Man. Yeah, Dan the Man, great channel. He put, Davey Moore's career was ruined after Duran fight, in my opinion. Great discussion, guys. B-Marsh there's just a few more, buddy. B-Marsh put, Duran had 70 plus wins with only one loss in the whole 70s decade. Yep, good point, B-Marsh. Truth in his sword. Honestly, I think Floyd Sr. beats Golovkin in his prime before the shotgun to the leg injury. What we saw Brook do his child's play to guys in 80s, man. That was Truth in his sword again, I agree. Dan the Man agreed with him. What's this one? Truth in his sword, but can you imagine Golovkin swinging and his shots are being rolled and countered by Mayweather Sr.? To beat Floyd Sr., you have to be athletic like Leonard. I think in some ways, though, I get his point, but I think that Golovkin would break Floyd Mayweather Sr. because he succumbed to pressure of Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard realised he had to start pressuring him, and he broke him down, didn't he? He got him.
I don't think he's big enough. is the problem. Maybe if he's saying we're pound for pound wise, then I think you might have a discussion.
Yeah, he's going to be too small, isn't he? Golovkin will break him like bro.
Yeah, that would be my first thought.
One last comment, buddy, from Truth in His Sword. Julian Jackson kills this guy. Again, if Golovkin can take one solid shot off Julian Jackson clean, I'll give him all credit in world, because he can knock you out cold without trying.
Yeah. Ask Carol Graham.
Yeah, and Terry Norris.
Oh, that was brutal. He was Yeah. It literally took one punch. And again, most importantly to me, that'd be a fight. That would be fantastic to watch, wouldn't it?
Oh, that'd be an 100. If I were in America, I'd pay $200 pay-per-view for that fight. Julian Jackson Golovkin.
And again, in a way, we come full circle to one of the points here. It's about the great fights. You know what I mean? Which goes back to one of your big points you like to harp on, his resume. Like I was saying to me, Marsh, I'm a fan of Golovkin, but at this point, to me, even a points win over Lara would be by far, even with Kell Brook, would be by far his best win.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But people don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
But they wanted to see Golovkin fight Floyd, who these same people criticise Floyd for being negative and defensive, like Lara, but yet they wanted to see Golovkin versus Floyd.
Because they think he has a better chance of getting to him because he's smaller.
I agree with that, yeah.
Pretty simple to figure out. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because I think they wanted him to fight Floyd because they thought Floyd were too small. But, they were happy for that fight. Two more quick comments and then we can crack on. Truth in His Sword saying he was saying pound for pound with Mayweather Senior and Golovkin. And Dan the Man's just said Gerald McClellan kills Golovkin. I agree with that fully. Ooh. I think McClellan ices Golovkin.
Yeah, offhand, I'd favor McClellan. Yeah, because he does all the right things based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, because Golovkin, he didn't show any head movement at all. And McClellan used to love throwing them sweeping left hooks as you came forward, or throwing them brutal straight right hands. And again, he can knock you out.
Accurate. He was laser accurate, too, with those straight punches.
Yeah.
Left or right or what have you.
That is one of my favourite fights, and I still don't know to this day how Nigel Benn withstood all those punches off McClellan and came through that fight to win.
Agree completely. That's a fantastic fight. Fantastic fight.
But this is the thing, isn't it, buddy? We're not getting them fantastic fights because a lot of the fighters are not being matched together. They want to defend their alphabet trinkets. They want to fight these horrible mandatories like Kevin Biziers and Jojo Dans and, Dominic Wades.
Yeah, and then you have fans that are no help whatsoever because they don't want to see a whole bunch of these fights because they're boring or they've got agendas or what have you. They only want to see this style. There's only, you know what I mean? There's only when the whole point. One of the whole reasons I like this sport is because of variety.
Yeah, variety is the spice of life. It's true,
and it's one of the key components to boxing. It's the whole point. There's different styles, means and ways and methods of defeating your opponent.
Well, yeah, it's like Greb and Walker. The reason that fight was a great fight is because of Greb's work rate coupled with Walker's infighting and hooking. So, when them two styles merged, you got that great fight. Same with, Leonard Hearns won.
my guy, Mickey Walker. I got to thank you again for teaching me about Mickey Walker.
Have you seen it? Have you seen that footage of him trying to knock Max Schmeling out?
yeah, I got that fight. I have that fight now. I got to put it in my collection because he's sitting there he's checking Schmeling off, trying to bully him on the inside. A heavyweight. Let's take Golovkin through Mickey Walker's resume and see what happens, or find some equivalents. You know what I mean? Let's put him in there with Alexander Povetkin, and have him try to bully him inside. Check out
Yeah, and if you notice in that fight,
punches. Yeah, he intentionally trades with Max Schmeling. He knows he's going to. He knows he's going to be trading up. He's like, I'm going to knock you out. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
And did you notice in clinches, Mickey Walker's actually trying to push him back?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I told you, I start laughing every time I watch that fight. It's because it's not, you know what I mean? It's a crack up because it's madness. Especially by today's standards, it's like, what the heck is he doing? You know? It's just insanity. Whoa, what are you on, Mickey?
I mean, it would be like Kell Brook fighting Alexander Povetkin. And Kell Brook standing toe-to-toe with Povetkin trying to knock him out and push him back.
Yeah, or even, I was even going to go with Golovkin, but either way, because, that's right, he started it at welterweight, didn't he?
Yeah, Mickey Walker. Yeah, he had a few fights below a lightweight, but not many.
These people, I bet you anything. The ones that even have heard the name Mickey, the ones that don't go, who's Mickey Walker, right? I bet you a bunch of them would be, Golovkin beats him easy. You know?
Oh, yeah, they would do, yeah. Oh, can I tell you that one? Have you heard that one about Golovkin knocking out Chris Arreola easy?
No, I have not heard that one.
Well, tell him to go up and fight Povetkin then. What are you waiting for? If you can knock out heavyweights, get him up there.
That'll make up for fighting a welterweight to me. Because I was, as a fan, I found that I seem to be the only fan of Golovkin that was irritated and just kind of put off by the fact that he fought a welterweight right after saying it's disrespectful to box. I wouldn't do that. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
As a fan of the guy, that's a little off-putting. But I didn't see anybody else, you know what I mean, that waves their Golovkin flags and whatnot, say anything. Oh, great fight, blah, blah, blah. He's a real middleweight.
I know they said that, and yet at every press conference and every time they stood next to each other and at weigh-in, you could see in chest, the expansion at chest, the height, but Golovkin were easily bigger. One thing that I don't understand is...
I have a question. I can't remember what the fight was. I want to say it was a Jack Johnson fight, and they show him during the weigh-ins, and his opponent who wasn't a heavyweight. I want to say. The point is, they had him in the suit and with the tie and a scarf and everything. You get what I'm trying to say, to make him try and look big, look like closer to the same size.
Oh, Stanley Ketchel! You're talking about Ketchel fight.
That's what it reminded me of. I was like, where's the scarf? He looks like Stanley Ketchel.
Do you know the story behind that weigh-in?
Not entirely. So I presume it was along the lines of what I'm suggesting. But go ahead. Yeah. I'm interested.
Ketchel weighed in with all his clothes on because they didn't want it to look as big of a mismatch. So they wanted Ketchel to weigh in at a higher weight than what he was.
They want. They didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, okay, if they're the same size, why is Golovkin in a t-shirt, and why does Brook have this like 15-piece suit on and all?
Big anorak and cane and headband.
Exactly. And did you notice he almost never got an exact straight-on camera angle when they took pictures?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they're not the same size. Look at their necks. I hate to be brutally, to the point, but look at their necks. They're not the same size. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I find it really strange, and we're both not short of a shilling, and we can look at it and make rational conclusions, but I don't understand what is hard about understanding that a man who's 6 foot and a man who's 5'7", if the man who weighs 5'7" is the same weight as the 6 foot tall man, it doesn't mean he's as big naturally.
What don't they get about the difference between mass and density?
Basic high school science.
I think density might be the problem at play, dare I say.
Yeah. Oh dear me.
It's mass is not density. You know, they don't. There's two. They are two different things. Sean Porter effectively is a middleweight when he rehydrates. Right, and he's like what, 5'6"?
Yeah, he's short, isn't he? 5'6", 5'7", yeah.
Okay,
I'm not 100% sure how tall he is, actually.
So he's, but the point is, well, he's shorter than Golovkin, right?
Yeah, but he has a big walk-around weight.
Are they the same size? You know?
Yeah, because they weigh the same. If Sean Porter walks around at 175 pounds, he's same size as Kovalev, isn't he? I mean,
yeah, sure. But let's put Sean Porter at middleweight. See what happens.
Oh dear me.
Who? I mean, someone tell me who of significance does Sean Porter beat at 160? Anybody who of note at 160 can he beat?
I don't think he beats Saunders or Jacobs or Golovkin, or I don't think he beats any of them really. Any of top middleweight guys.
Because he's not a middleweight. Because that's size versus he's dense. He doesn't have the mass of a middleweight.
Yeah, I agree.
Simple, like you said, simple science. I don't know.
But that's what makes a fighter like Walker great, because he had that disadvantage, but went up anyway and fought, and he didn't care.
Yeah, he beat heavyweights. Let's see you do that, Golovkin. You beat a welterweight. You know, let's impress me. Show me something.
Yeah, and he beat heavyweights who were top 5 ranked, top 10 ranked.
Okay,
Mickey Walker bet a number of them.
Yeah,
Mickey Walker bet a guy who bet Harry Wills.
Oh, holy shit!
Polino Usticum, the Basque woodcutter, he beat Harry Wills and Mickey Walker beat him.
I know just enough about Harry Wills to know what that means. That's something. Now, so who's a 5th ranked heavyweight right now? Or just give me someone in that ballpark.
Oh, Kubrat Pulev, maybe. He'll be around there.
Okay, there we go. Let's take somebody's favorite middleweight or welterweight and put him against Kubrat Pulev. See what happens. We'll find out real quick who's special. You know, and I don't mean Special K or Special Ed.
Yeah, I agree, because this is what you went back to about Duran. All fighters, because they're away, are not the same. Some are special.
Just like any other sport, you know, not all great point guards are Magic Johnson, you know, in basketball, for example.
Not all great footballers are Pele.
Exactly. Even if they're great, even if they're playing in the same position, even if they score, you know, close to as many goals, that doesn't make them as good.
Yeah. And I think this is another thing about like you said, mass and density. This is another thing that I don't know why these fans can't work out. The different fighters at a weight have different abilities. Some fighters can go at weight easier than others. Like Thomas Hearns, welterweight, and he were decking Andrew Maynard, who were quite a decent cruiserweight. You know, on your fight earlier, he decked Andrews with that beautiful counter right hand.
Oh, he beat the crap out of Andres.
Yeah, he took his power up all that way.
And that was was he not a light heavyweight champion? That was Hearns going for his 3rd title, if I heard you correctly.
Yeah, Dennis Andrews he was champion. Yeah, he was light heavyweight champion.
It wasn't just any light heavyweight that he was smacking around that ring, you know. And
Andrews were tough, very tough.
Yeah. So you know, let's see who's somebody's favorite. Let's take Sean Porter and put him in there with Sergey. With Kovalev.
Excuse me. Went down, run off my drink. But even if you put Sean Porter in with someone like Andres Fonfara, he's not going to beat Fonfara.
That's another brutal knockout.
Yeah, but this thing, ain't it? Hearns could go up, and he didn't only beat Andrews. Yeah. He also bet Virgil Hill at light heavyweight as well. He was an Olympian. He was a 10-year champion at light heavyweight.
And it's not because Sean Porter isn't a very good, even if you want to say, you know, great for the current time welterweight. That's not the thing we're saying, is it?
Oh yeah, totally. We're not saying that. Yeah.
No, it's Hearns was that special, and the word I like to use is transcendent.
Yeah, good word. Yeah, good word. Yeah. He was just a special talent with certain abilities. He had natural height, reach, and also with his boxing training from being developed, he had incredible speed. He was just a totally different ballpark to today's welterweights.
Oh, he's one of the, like you said it best. He's one of those fighters that you put him in the time machine and send him either way.
Yeah, he'll give any welterweight in history a fight.
Yeah, you just have to watch him. All you have to do, I tell people all the time, just watch a couple of the fights. I wonder, you know what I mean? Sometimes these people, I wonder if they, is it an attention span thing? They just haven't watched the fights, or they can't sit through them, because they're 15 rounds. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Earns's didn't go that long, did they? I mean, he was brutal, wasn't he? Cuevas were quite a long reigning champion, and Earns just mutilated. He just destroyed him, didn't he? I mean, he went through him like he wasn't there.
Yeah, he went. He walked through Roberto Duran.
That is one of my favourite. No, that were brutal, wasn't it? I mean, Earns were just on level that night, wasn't he?
When he, it sounds like a gunshot, don't it? That right hand.
Yeah, that one where he goes twice to body with left, doesn't he, to pull his arms down, then bang right on chin that right hand. I mean, it's brutal.
Those hooks to the body of his, man. Underrated.
Yeah, when he opened up, Duran's all over it. He's like, "Where am I?" And Earns just boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Destroyed him.
Yeah, Hearns was a very underrated body puncher. Very underrated body puncher.
Yeah, I mean, one fight that where Earns put a demolition job were on James Black Gold Schuler. I don't know if you remember that fight, but Earns came out behind jab and he was whipping some wicked body shots. You could hear body shots, and then he lined him up with that left hand, didn't he? He lined up range with left and bang right hand, and Schuler were just out, wasn't he?
Yep, first round if I recall. Yes.
Yeah, first round knockout. Yeah.
And when that was on. I want to say that was like on a Hagler undercard. I can't remember.
It was on the Hagler.
Mugabe?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone in chat knows whether the
let's know.
Hearns Schuler fight was that on the undercard of Hagler Mugabe. B-Marsh may know, or Dan the Man may know.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I like learning these things.
You like what, sorry?
I said I like learning these things. I like learning in general.
Yeah, me too. I research boxing every day. Every single day I'm looking at something.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean...
You won't gather away all my videos up on Power.
Fun for
Sometimes 4 a day. Diltown always used to say, I go to my subscription feed and it says like 13 on your name. And he said it's only been 3 or 4 days. And it says they're all 34 minutes long. I need all day.
Oh, but it's like I said, some of these people, I don't know, man. Like I said, they not only do I question whether they've watched a lot of the fights that they infer to have that they've seen, but we talked about it earlier. Emotionally over investing.
That is a great term. Yeah.
I don't get that at all. It's like like we started it off. I was wrong about some things about my guy Golovkin. Simple.
They cannot admit the wrong, can they, in any way? They cannot accept any form of...
Like I told you on Facebook, they're like the little kid first time they see a doctor's needle. Squirming away, they don't want no part of it. Shut up, take your medicine. It's easy. Not going to hurt you.
I mean, one of my favourite fighters, Greg, when he fought Mike Gibbons first time, he got a boxing lesson. I can just say it. He got beat. Yeah. There's no ego for me. He just got beat by a better man on night.
Yeah. Simple. The first Ali Norton fight. That's my guy. If I'm a fanboy of anybody, it's Ali. He lost the first fight. Simple.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not hard, people.
I remember, one of my teen idols were Nigel Benn, and I adored Nigel Benn and Mike Tyson. And when Nigel Benn lost to Michael Watson, my world came crashing down. But when he came back, I just accepted that he's lost. And when he came back, even though I was paranoid about him getting it in case he dropped again, all I wanted to see him do was come back and do better. I didn't mind that he'd lost. I just wanted him to come back and do better.
Yeah, all it does is set the stage for the opportunity to, like you say, come back and do something else great. Maybe it's a great fight that sometimes, like I was talking to you about Mickey Walker, right?
Yeah.
I find, because I'm, mostly my background in the sport, like I told you, my first memories are, my dad and my grandfather teaching me how to score a fight, because that was my first, hurdle, right?
Yeah.
Things like NFL, there's a score, and it's easy to tell, when you're a little kid who's ahead and all that, right?
Yeah.
So my first memories with the sport are keeping score with them and watching, and so yeah. Sorry, guys. What were we talking about? See, I get lost sometimes. I need to stay on target here, Drew.
No, it's okay. Please continue. No, tell story about how you got into scoring. It's fascinating.
No, yeah, that's my earliest memories of that. And I lost my train of thought though. What led us into that?
You were talking about. I just mentioned that Nigel Benn came back and improved, and then you mentioned you got into boxing, scored in fights. With my
dad and my grandfather, and I don't know where I was going with that. But the point is, it sets the stage, like you say, when someone takes a loss, it sets the stage for them to do something great. You don't, it's teams lose. You know what I mean? In other sports, I mean, it's not the end of them, right? There's still games to be played. There's still chances to do something. There's next season, etc. You don't have to, And you mentioned Michael Watson. Correct me if I'm wrong. In my opinion, from what I saw of him, a very underrated middleweight, and largely because his career got cut short so tragically.
Yeah, Michael Watson was a very underrated middleweight, even by Eubank Senior's admission in their second fight, where Eubank did fight. This was the fight where tragedy happened. Eubank Senior admits on all interviews that in that second fight, Watson gave him a boxing lesson. One of the things that comes to mind, or just came to mind, was work rate. He was one of those fighters that had one of those crazy work rates. Because I remember watching the interview with Eubank Senior, and he was talking about how after like the fourth round, he went to the corner and he said, "I was thinking exactly what Ronnie Davis said to me, his trainer. Nobody can keep up that pace." And then, of course, come round whatever it was, 9 or 10, he still had that pace going. Yeah, he gave Eubank until he actually dropped Eubank, and Eubank got up and hit him with that horrible uppercut.
Lead right uppercut. Oof.
Oh, that was a vicious punch, wasn't it? That,
he put him down so fast. Eubank didn't have time. The left hook that he was trying to follow with, Watson was already on the floor by the time the left hook was coming.
And this was just after Eubank had gone down himself with that 3-4 punch combination. Watson hit him with a mid range that dropped him.
Literally the first punch he threw after getting up.
Yeah, with that brutal right uppercut. Yeah. Oh, what a punch! Sickening punch.
Yes, one of the most brutal right uppercuts you'll ever see.
And another interesting thing about what we're talking about with this Watson Eubank fight is what we've mentioned through theme of this hangout a lot is about fighters are not all the same, because that same Michael Watson who bet Nigel Benn, who had that draw, very controversial first fight with Eubank, then gave Eubank a boxing lesson before losing. He then goes in with a fighter called Mike McCallum and gets broken apart. The same fighter, Michael Watson, goes in with a much better fighter and gets dismantled slowly and meticulously.
Because McCallum knew what to do with, with that work rate to offset. He had the, it was you could argue probably also a little bit of styles make fights. Because McCallum had the body work. Okay, that'll affect your work rate. He was very good counter puncher. You know what I mean? And he had that patient temperament to him.
Oh yeah, he did. He was a fantastic fighter, McCallum. I mean, one. Oh, sorry. Go on, buddy, please.
I was just gonna say, yeah, he had that. He had that ability to, like, I was always taught, because I grew up, like I told you, I call it indoor. You walk a couple, normal people's yards distance from the house, and it's forest, and you got to be worried about coyotes and all this. But anyways, point is, I was always taught one of the most important things you can learn in life is to be able to remain unflappable. And Mike McCallum and guys like him and James Toney, they had that ability to, stand in the pocket and just have completely calm and see everything coming. You know what I mean? Like it's like they were in the eye of a hurricane. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, McCallum, even against Curry,
that's a fight.
Don Curry was an excellent fighter. McCallum, he knocked him out with that. Well, one of the best one-punch knockouts in boxing history, in my mind. And the thing that got it is people talk about McCallum, but they don't understand his technical skill. He slipped that first left, didn't he? And then he slipped the second left, but he put himself down to his left to automatically counter the shot he'd slipped, and he just came back with that punch, didn't he? Bang on point at chin. Don Curry spread-eagled on his back with his hands across covers.
Like James Kirkland.
And when you watch it in slow motion, the technique of McCallum's countering.
Slow-mo videos.
Damn, I've gave my secret away. But if you watch it on slow motion, you get to the truth. I'm telling you. Listen to me. Watch that knockout again.
No, I remember now where I was going. Fanboys have tried to ruin all kinds of things, whether it's being a fan of Golovkin, okay, whether it's being a fan of styles different than Golovkin's. We'll just use this as an example. And for me, one of my favorite things has been scoring fights and debating scores. That's what me and my dad and my grandfather we do. We'd sit there and bicker about, that's part of the fun for us. You know what I mean? Nah, I won that round. I thought, you know what I mean? And then, then later, stupid judge this, that, or whatever. But that was as far as it went, right? We didn't try to create this alternate reality in our minds and start putting belts on people that they don't have because we think they beat them, and you know what I mean? And taking it to the, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You know what I'm trying to say? Am I making my point?
Yeah. Another thing I want to throw in as well, what a lot of these people don't realize is that a fighter taking a loss is not necessarily about. Look at Lennox Lewis, okay, Olympic gold medalist, unbeaten, got awarded belt when Bo dropped it in trash can, had them few defenses, went in with McCall, starched out in 2 rounds pretty much. He got up, he were all over the place. Now a lot of these same fans would write him off, but that defeat led Lennox Lewis into arms of Emmanuel Stewart, who refined his technique, refined his style, and he became the dominant heavyweight of his generation.
Well, Andrew, he got starched again, did he not?
Yeah, by Hasim Rahman, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he still went on, you see?
Yeah.
All it did was it set the stage for him to become champion. What was that, then a 3rd time?
Yeah, 3-time heavyweight champion, yeah, and a unified champ, yeah.
Yep. So,
but that's the thing, isn't it? Because the defeat gives you a chance to develop and learn from that defeat. And if you learn from it, you become a better fighter, I think.
And implicit in our discussion here of these, what a loss means and what have you and all that. Oh, here's another great point. Losses and Mickey Walker. I find myself looking at Mickey Walker's, I mean, it's not like intentional. I find myself looking at Mickey Walker's resume and I run across, stopped by Max Schmeling. You know what I mean? And I find myself wanting to give that more credit than I give a lot of great wins by some fighters. I can't help it. I can't help it. I mean, especially when I see the footage. You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, he's trying to knock him out. It's not just any heavyweight. You know what I mean? It isn't just some middle of the road heavy. That's Max Schmeling.
This was heavyweight who destroyed Joe Louis in first fight.
So let's try and think of a modern equivalent now of Max Schmeling. because Povetkin doesn't fit the bill. I'm sorry. He has not done anything that equates to destroying Joe Louis.
Yeah, because Schmeling was one of the best heavyweights at 30s. He was an excellent heavyweight.
Tyson Fury he pretty, it was points, but he beat, Vladimir Klitschko pretty clearly, I thought. How about that for an equivalence? Let's put my guy Golovkin in with Tyson Fury.
or with the European connection, really, for Schmeling, because Schmeling is semi-idolized by Vladimir Klitschko. Throw Golovkin in with Vladimir.
Oh yeah, okay. Come on, that'd be a great domestic fight. Why don't we want to see that, right?
But it's a great point.
I just want to see somebody trying to say they're the same size.
Yeah, a 5'7" welterweight's trying to knock out a heavyweight champion who bet Joe Louis.
And this guy's greater than him. No.
Fighters now want £5 or £10 rehydration clauses.
No. Stop it.
Just another quick one about Walker, okay, to show you what kind of man he was. He weighed 168 pounds for a fight against Ed Bearcat Wright, okay? Ed Bearcat Wright wasn't a great heavyweight, but he was a big, rugged heavyweight. He weighed over 200 pounds. He came out and dropped Walker in round 1. Now, to most welterweights, they'd pretty much be finished. In round 2, Walker comes out, starts swinging with him, and drops the 200-plus pound heavyweight. He knocks him on his backside. He gets up and fight goes on, but Walker went down in first round, and he dropped the guy in second round. In response,
the fact that there was a second round alone is something.
Yeah, great point, yeah.
He got up and was able to continue after getting laid out by a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take that scenario and okay, Keith Thurman, you're gonna get laid out by Deontay Wilder, and then you're gonna continue.
No, he's going to get up and drop Wilder.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that part. Fuck that. I'm sorry. I'm trying, man.
Oh dear, I'm laughing so much. I'm coughing. I'm recovering from a cold, as you probably know from my videos. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
Oh no! It's killing me, Pink. I'm enjoying having a good laugh. I mean, some of this stuff is bizarre.
Yeah.
Because Mickey Walker's just a welterweight, isn't he?
Okay, look. I know. Like I always tell you, Andrew. I know enough to know what I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
I know enough to know that Mickey Walker isn't the best middleweight ever. Okay. I know that much. I know he's one of them up there, right? You can't. Yeah. Obviously can't. But he's not. I never hear him in the discussion for number one. All right.
No. He'd never get number one.
Who in the 9 hells at middleweight today are you going to try and put above Mickey Walker? and if you put him above Mickey Walker, please explain. Please explain.
No, and no one can.
Kind of like a gatekeeper, if in boxing. If you can get past Mickey Walker, we'll talk.
I mean, it wasn't only at heavy. I mean, Mickey Walker fought Tommy Loughran, one of the best fighters at 20s. He fought him for like heavyweight title. I mean, this guy was unstoppable. He'd fight anybody regardless of size.
And all you have to do is watch. Anybody, please listening. I go watch Mickey Walker versus Max Schmeling. I promise it doesn't disappoint. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, because he's hooking with him. He's trying to knock him out. There's another one. Tommy Loughran, who I mentioned.
I know the name. See, that's the thing. I know enough to know, right? I don't know much about Loughran, but I've heard the name often enough, and if, there's enough associations there that I know when you say it. You know what I mean?
He fought Primo Carnera, who wasn't a great heavyweight, but he was a huge man, very powerful man. And Tommy Loughran fought him with a near 100-pound weight disadvantage.
No rehydration clause.
No, he's like outweighed by 7 stone, and and then you've got Dempsey beating Willard. Willard outweighed Dempsey by 80 pounds approximately, and Dempsey battered him senseless.
Dempsey was a small heavyweight.
Yeah, 6 foot. Yeah, 6'1". Willard were like 6'5", 6'6" or something. Yeah, he were huge, and he outweighed him by nearly 80 pounds, and Dempsey just destroyed him. I mean, he battered him.
So it's let's have a little perspective here. I don't know. the weight jumping thing that cracks me up too. It's like, okay, it means something to a point, but also, you don't get to just like go, forget the heavyweights. You know what I mean? Just chop that division off of the sport and its history.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Pretend like those guys didn't happen because they weren't good enough. What? What?
Oh dear me.
So I don't know, man. See, I mean, these people really think that they really think that even we'll just play the game for fun. They really think a heavyweight sized Manny Pacquiao beats Muhammad Ali. Easy.
No, it wouldn't be him. No. Pacquiao's got good footwork, but he doesn't have the foot speed and the reflexes that Ali has.
Yeah. It's please. I don't know, man.
He'd be on the end of Ali's jab all night long, and he'd be eating them right hands whenever Ali wanted to pop him in there.
It would be, yes, it'd be an even worse version of what he got from Floyd.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, and look at Ali against Ernie Terrell and others. I mean, he could throw combinations. He could throw some brutal combinations. He obviously didn't want to knock Terrell out because Terrell kept calling him Clay, didn't he?
But Andrew, he never fought bigger men.
Yeah, Ernie Terrell, 6'6", wasn't he? 80+ inch reach. Bigger than Ali, and Ali just toyed with him, didn't he? Just played with him.
Don't forget that. What was his name? Foreman guy.
Yeah, younger. 40, 37 knockouts. Were it 25 inside 3 rounds? Destroyed Frazier and Norton.
He was like, I was like 8 years younger.
Yeah, he was a lot younger. Yeah, and Ali, old man who had no chance.
They wouldn't take bets.
And that is very rare. That is so rare.
Yeah, because in Vegas rarely are they that wrong. So, but yeah, those guys were overpaid.
Yeah, of course, because Vegas oddsmakers, me and D-Style touched on this a bit, they have to make a living by being as right as possible so that they don't take big hits. So they will put a lot of time into trying to be as right as possible.
Either correct as possible, or they will misdirect the public by setting the line a certain way that they know how the public's going to react to it.
Yeah, good point.
But either way, either way, to do that, they've got to have a pretty good idea of what's going on.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Certainly, they got a better idea of what's going on than these amateur businessmen.
Oh, whoa! No, these are amateurs. These are experts.
Oh, my bad.
I'm telling you, go check Maxwell Baird out. You will be a business expert inside of 2 weeks.
Lord.
I'm telling you.
No.
All right. Yeah, so
I tried interacting with that guy like once or twice, and I quickly discerned that points were never going to be addressed. You know what I mean? He's very dodgy that way. You never get to you ask a point and he'll dance all around it.
Well, just to tell you my last experience with him before I blocked him, he were raving on at me about Golovkin and Universum. I disagreed, so he told me that I should die in a car wreck.
Oh, that's classy.
Yeah, he said same thing to Coach and JT as well.
Oh, wonderful. That gives you that really kind of sums it up right there. The level of intellect we're dealing with, and the level of just general. I mean, are these even civilized human beings? I'm sorry.
No, he told me that if I died in a car wreck, it'd be good for human genome. He said.
Oh, I see.
He didn't bother me, buddy. I just laughed it off, and I thought you wouldn't say that to my face, but
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's and then but yeah, don't call him racist, right?
Oh no, he's not racist. He's just more understanding than the rest of us. He knows we don't. Watch his videos again. Oh, we've been naughty tonight, buddy. I don't care.
I don't either. Oh man, yeah. When those uppercuts were going in, I could just see, your boy Tarzan fretting over the Hagler slide like it's his precious one ring, like Gollum,
Oh, to listeners, you may not know what Mr. Doc's on. You may not know what Mr. Doc's on about with the Hagler slide, but it's regarding someone Golovkin in regards to Hagler and Kell Brook.
My precious one Hagler slide. No. I might have to edit it. Nasty Junior Cubans.
You don't have any friends. No one likes you. Oh dear. Oh dear me. Oh dear me.
That's why it's all I can think is like the Temple of Doom.
Oh dear me.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Oh dear. I need a drink. I'm gonna cough.
Me too.
Oh dear. That would have left me fit in half.
Well,
and I'm surprised we haven't seen the slide yet.
That's what I was going to ask you. What's going on? Where's the Hagler? Where is it? I'm disappointed.
I know. I thought it'd have been up day after saying, "See, Hagler ain't shit."
Yeah. Where's like, and then they need like the Kell Brook slide with like Leonard on the floor.
Well, Kell Brook is the #1 welterweight.
Because he went 5 rounds with Golovkin and beat him up, so lumped him up before getting sick.
Oh no, it's comical, isn't it? Really.
And now he's the greatest welterweight of all time.
Oh no, don't even get me going on that one. So one of these nutters told me that Kell Brook knocks out Ray Robinson.
What?
Yep, he's too evolved, he's too strong, he has modern nutrition, and Ray Robinson would get broken down and beat up and knocked out.
Oh, I love that. Andrew, do you remember, this was a long time ago, or a while back at least, do you remember when I sent you the that was in like an image, I think, but it was off of some research people had done on like heights and weights of people and whatnot, comparative through history. And it showed that the place where the real difference lay was between like the ages of birth and 21. After 21, the factors were almost exactly the same. There was very little variation.
Yeah, because as children we grow faster because we have more foods like milk, which contain a lot of fattening agents. to growers and builders, don't there, and things like that.
There's less physical labor and just less physical, grinding, activities.
Yeah, kids aren't sweeping chimneys at 9 anymore.
You know what I mean?
Health and safety.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? So that makes me think, like, when I watch it, like if we had some of the refs of the way that they ref, like in the 70s even, like you watch like you watch like Ali versus Lyle, and like at the time people questioned the stoppage, and Laurent Lyle looks like a bobblehead doll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, ref, or like Foreman Lyle, why wasn't that stopped? Where was the towel? Where was the towel?
He doesn't own towels.
Well, hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? Ron Lyle, if anybody didn't own towels, it would be a guy like Ron Lyle. If you know anything about that.
Heart of a tiger.
Dude. Yeah. And the reason he started so late in his career is because he was in prison till then, learning to box. He was not.
He was a brutal one here. Knock you out cold. He was a tough guy.
And he wasn't just a puncher. He had boxing skill. Make no mistake.
He had a jab. Threw straight shots. Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. Straight punches.
I mean, one of the first times I saw Ron Lyle, when Foreman were laying face down on canvas, I'm like, oh, what? George Foreman's on the deck.
And that, you know what I'll never forget, Andrew, is the second time he puts Foreman on the floor, and that there was that splatter of blood and whatnot that he leaves on the mat. And he gets up. And I'm like,
oh no, that is one of my favorite fights. That is a great fight. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, that was just crazy. Like literally, if you go, like, again, anybody that's listening in the chat, go watch the fight and watch the second knockdown, because Foreman like hits face first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could tell he had to have been out for like a split second or at some point, and he leaves like there's this big splotch of blood and what have you there, where his face was when he gets up.
Some people actually say that prior to Jimmy Young fight, that was one of the fights that made Foreman start to turn against boxing. His love for it.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I never heard that. Go ahead, elaborate.
I read a story a long time ago, an interview with George Foreman, and basically said that he had his revelation after the Jimmy Young fight in dressing room, but Ron Lyle fight, it was after the Ron Lyle fight, he started to question whether boxing were what he wanted to do.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. That would, because I the story I know about the Jimmy Young fight, now that you mention it, is that it's basically what seemed like an extremely overconfident George Foreman flew into Puerto Rico the day of the fight.
Oh my God. I didn't know that, but that's crazy.
I swear to you, look it up. I mean, I've read it at least. Maybe the source is wrong, but I swear to you, I've read that more than once. Flew into Puerto Rico the day of the fight to fight Jimmy Young.
Oh my God, it was a very awkward, hard to beat guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he got Jimmy Young puts him on his pants. Another guy that would, we remember that's on our list of guys that wouldn't get a shot today. Jimmy Young, he wouldn't sniff a title shot.
No, he doesn't do ratings. He's got a dull style. He's not a knockout puncher.
Yeah. No Ken Norton fight for him. No Ali fight for him.
I know, and some people think he beat Ali in that fight. I personally don't. I edge it to Ali, but it was a tough fight with that.
Yep. Very, very good. Jimmy Young is one of my favorite fighters, and it's, in my opinion, one of the most severely underrated heavyweights, at least in the modern era, or what I consider the modern era. Like I kind of cut it off like when color TV became, pretty much pervasive. From that, I consider that, like, for me, the modern era, if we're going to go big picture. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in another era, Jimmy Young, you know, he'd have been a heavyweight champion. He was just unfortunately surrounded by Ali's. I mean, God, what a need to try and.
We could go on with all kinds of names like that, you know. Like a name I like to bring up, and this is a real funny story. George Foreman. There's one guy, George Foreman, says from words from his own mouth that he avoided, right, of that era from the 70s. You'll never, if you haven't heard it, you will never believe who.
Joe Bugner.
You're close. Jerry Quarry.
Oh, Jerry Quarry, yeah, he was a tough guy in.
Foreman said from his own mouth, he said that when I was champion, the one guy I avoided, he says it, so I'm just going by what he said. The one guy I avoided was Jerry Quarry because he was the best counterpuncher in the division. So,
and you know that Foreman was at the, I think it was the first Quarry Frazier fight. Or what it's like, I can't remember.
Either one of them, both of those fights are fantastic.
Yeah, and Foreman were there, and he said he was awestruck by how Quarry stood with Frazier, toe to toe, and fought him. And that'd certainly play into that, what you said.
Yep. Yeah. He had a lot of success in those early rounds against Frazier before he got cut.
I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I've always said this. I think if Jerry Quarry fought in Marciano's era, he would be battling Marciano for top heavyweight era.
Oh, that would have been a hell of a fight. I know I've seen enough Marciano to be able to judge that.
But to other heavyweights at that time, Quarry would have been a nightmare.
Or imagine Quarry with all the alphabet belts. Surely he would have grabbed one of them.
Oh, yeah, I could believe it, yeah. He would have took dude.
Or Jimmy Young, for that matter, if he didn't get, completely aced out by all the fanboys.
And Ron Lyle, of course. Ron Lyle is another one.
Yeah. Countless guys. You mentioned Joe Bugner. You could say this. You could tell. Now, explain this to me. I've only heard it. I always hear that Joe Bugner was treated very unfairly over there. Is that true? And if so, can you elaborate or tell why?
He was treated unfairly over here. He was seen as more of an Aussie than a Brit by a lot of people.
Did it really? Did it just come down to that?
Yeah, Joe Bugner was always seen as the person who came from Australia and fought in Britain.
Huh.
I'm sure it was Bugner. He had ties to Australia.
Yeah, I know that. I remember because I know that once he got eventually he got fed up with the press, or that's what I hear and read, right? And that's why at the end of his career and when he tried to make a comeback, he was Aussie Joe Bugner, if I'm understanding things correctly.
The thing is about Joe Bugner, though, he was a big, strong heavyweight. He was a capable heavyweight.
And he had speaking of footwork, he had some footwork. He was quick on foot, quick hand speed too. His problem is he didn't have the punching power, in my opinion, to my eye.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
But he had very good angles, very good in terms of placing his punches, and like I said, the hand speed, size. He was a big dude, 6'5".
He was durable as well. He was durable. He had good energy levels. He was a very good heavyweight, Joe Bugner.
Yeah, he was only, if I recall, he only got stopped a couple times in his prime. I know Shavers, I think, stopped him on cuts. That was towards the end of his career. And I think he had one stoppage loss early in his career.
And Bruno beat him as well.
But then the comeback with Bruno, yeah. That was when he was Aussie Joe Bugner. Yeah, I was always curious about that. I was always curious what the story was of that. Because when I watch him, I see an excellent fighter. Like you say, he just happened to be in just a brutally talented stacked heavyweight division when there was basically one belt.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, there's others. I mean, even fighters like Ernie Terrell, even Buster Mathis, even. A lot of these guys were very good heavyweights, but they were just trapped in that era with Frazier, Foreman, and Ali.
Buster Mathis Sr. is one of those guys that blows my mind, like a Greg Page or a Tony Tubbs, where you look at him, right? And I don't, not to be offensive, but you're like, how are they able to move that quickly? With that body, I mean, they're out of shape looking and all this, so at least somewhat, they got that kind of a body type, and they don't look like they're working hard in the gym, but by God, those guys were quick on their feet, quick hands, reflexes, moved well.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I always find that kind of, you know, talent interesting to me for some reason.
And I think that's what's underrated about Ali's career, because he was surrounded by a huge collection of like fighters we've talked about, Lyles and Shavers and Bugners and Terrells and Quarries. And I mean, all of these guys were real good heavyweights, good heavyweights.
I mean, I'll run. Let me just toss this out there and see what you think. Would it be easier to sort out which opponents wouldn't be able to be champions today, or the ones that would?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We can do that. Before we do that, I want to keep carrying on chatting, but I've reached the 2-hour limit. Can I end this hangout and launch another one?
Sure.
It'll only take me 2 minutes, and then we can carry on.
Right on. I didn't even realize.
Okay, buddy, I shall get off. Okay, everybody, we are ending this hangout, so I need a 2-hour Facebook upload time. I'm going to launch another hangout immediately. Me and Mr. Doc will be 2 minutes, and we'll be back on the air. Okay, buddy, I'll talk to you in 2 minutes.
Yeah.